In a previous lecture, we are discussing about some file organization techniques. There are 4 different types of file organization techniques we have discussed. In that case, first one is nothing but the heap file organization. Now it is unsorted file, unordered file, in other words. Then sorted file organization, data will be stored according to the particular record field, which is in the sorted file. Then index file organization, that is every record has corresponding index, and we can maintain a single index for more than one records. But here additional space for an index is required to store the index corresponding to that of the records. Okay. After that, all we discuss about the hash file organization. Hash file organization, it is a very fast and random file organization technique. In this case, we can use one function that is called as the hash function. We represent the hash function corresponding to the particular key field. Key field is nothing but the field which is used to identify the location of a record. We use this key field to store the record uniquely. We identify the record uniquely. That is nothing but the key field. And with the help of this key field, we can use the hash function, that is h of k equal to k mod n. Here mod returns the reminder corresponding to that of the memory. N is nothing but the size of a block, and k is the corresponding key field. Okay, this is the hash file organization. Now after that, we discuss in today's lecture, we consider the purpose of database system, why we can use the database system. To identify the purpose of system, we need to consider some drawback of the file system. Then we can conclude that is the purpose of database system. Okay. Now in this case, early days, that is database applications were built on top of the file system. Okay. When we discuss about the file system, we can have or we can identify there are different types of organizations. There are different types of file organization systems, and we can have more than one type of files. We represent the particular file. If you want to create a image file, the corresponding format will be different. We want to create data file, the corresponding format is also different. Like that, according to the type of a file, we need to create different types of file formats. We need to create different types of files. Now in this case here, what happened, that is the every file or every type of file has different type of storage. Now accordingly, we can discuss about the drawback of using the file system to store the data. That is, first drawback is nothing but the data redundancy and inconsistency. Now this is happen with the help of multiple file formats, that is duplication of the information in different files. Suppose we can create one word file, and that word file contains the information related to that of the students. Now we create a one more file, that is nothing but the PDF file. Okay, PDF file in the sense that is it is a portable document format file, which also contains the same information which is present in your Word file. Okay, now we can capture the image of that Word file and it's stored in the form of image. Okay, now same information which is available in the form of image also. That is, this is nothing but the duplications of a data. We can consider the multiple files, and we represent the same data into that of the multiple files. We create one Excel sheet also, Excel file also. This is the another type of file format. We store the same information, again student information, because in case of the data Microsoft Word file, we create the tables, and in that table we can store the data. Okay, we can create the PDF file for the same Word file. या ठिकाणी काय झालं, फाईलचं एकाच डेटाचं मल्टिप्लिकेशन आलं, डुप्लिकेशन आलं, वेगवेगळ्या फॉर्मॅटमध्ये आपण ती एकच फाईल एकच डेटा काय केलं त्या ठिकाणी स्टोर केला. नाउ दॅट इज नथिंग बट स्टोरिंग द सेम डेटा ऍट मल्टिपल लोकेशन विथ द हेल्प ऑफ मल्टिपल फाइल्स. That is nothing but the redundancy of a data, and also we consider it as a consistency of that data. Now second thing is nothing but the difficulty in accessing the data. When we use the file system, we need to write a new program to carry out each new task. Okay, when we use that file system, for every new task we need to write the new program corresponding to that new task. That is nothing but accessing of the data in the file system is not easy. It is very difficult to access the particular data from the file system, because we need to compulsory consider to pass our control from beginning to that of the file to the end, where till to find out your data. जोपर्यंत तुम्हाला तुमचा डेटा फाइंड आउट होणार नाही तोपर्यंत तुम्हाला तो डेटा काय करावा लागणार आहे, पुढचा आधीचा सगळा डेटा रीड करावा लागेल, and then we can access our actual data, and corresponding according to the file format we need to design a separate program to access the data from such a files. Now next thing is nothing but the data isolation. That is, the multiple files and formats will be available here. So data isolation can take place in the file format. Okay. Now next thing is nothing but the integrity problem. What is the integrity problem? That is here we consider the integrity constraints, that is account balance greater than 0 becomes a part of a program code. Okay. Now we can't handle such a type of integrity in case of the file system. If you want to mention, if you want to store the data according to this particular condition, that is the account balance, not account balance always greater than 0. Okay, but this condition cannot be applied on the particular file system. So that is nothing but the integrity constraint. We doesn't identify, we doesn't apply some integrity on the particular files. Now it is hard to add a new constraint to change the existing one. If we add some data into the file, suppose we can add the data according to the that is, we consider simply one condition, that all the records which has the balance greater than 0, only we can check that record manually and insert into our file. But if you want to update or we want to change the constraint of that record, then it is not easy task in case of the file system. We need to write a different program according to the different constraint. Okay, and in that program we can consider another type of a file. Now we can create multiple files for the same data. That is nothing but the data isolation and the integrity problem which occurs in case of the file system. Now next drawback of the file system using the file system is nothing but atomicity of updates. Now it that is, the failures may leave the database in an consistent state with partial updates carried out. Suppose we can store the same data on multiple files and we can update that particular data manually or programmatically, but that updations can take place only on a single file, not on all the files which contains the same data. Okay, suppose we can create the file like abc.txt or abc.doc file. Then second one is nothing but the xyz.doc file. We change or we can apply the changes on abc.doc file, but same changes cannot be happen on the same time on xyz.doc file. Okay, there is nothing but the atomicity updates. This is the problem of atomicity. Automatically all the files were not updated in case of the file system. This is the major drawback of that particular file system. Then what happen when data is not updated on multiple files? Suppose we change the data, we change the information from one file and we need to access the updated information from the file. ओके, आपल्याला जी अपडेटेड इन्फॉर्मेशन असेल ती इन्फॉर्मेशन जर ऍक्सेस करायची असेल, बट वी कॅन ओपन दी अनदर फाईल इन्स्टेड ऑफ द अपडेटेड. मी अपडेट केली एबीसी फाईल, बट वी कॅन ओपन, किंवा आपण त्या ठिकाणी ओपन करताना XYZ ची फाईल ओपन केली. देर इज नो अपडेट अवेलेबल ऍट दॅट फाईल. दॅट इज द रॉंग डेटा विल बी ऍक्सेस बाय द युजर. That is nothing but the atomicity problem can be happen in case of the file system. Now here one example is given there, that is the transfer of funds from one account to the another should either complete or not happen at all. ते complete झालंय की नाही झालंय, हे चेंजेस त्या ठिकाणी त्या फाईलवरती व्हायला पाहिजे. एका फाईलमध्ये चेंजेस झाले परंतु दुसऱ्या फाईलमध्ये ते चेंजेस झालेले नसतील. नाउ वी कॅन रिपीट दॅट ट्रान्झॅक्शन अगेन if we don't identify that transfer of fund is done or not. That is nothing but the misguide of that particular, misuse of that particular atomicity updates. That is the major problem in case of the file system. Now next thing is nothing but the concurrent access by multiple users. If any one user can access the same file, the other user can't access that. Suppose me abc.txt file access करतोय. Now at the same time you want to access the same file, that is you all are nothing but the 40 students and that 40 students want to access that abc.txt file, but previously I accessed that file, you are not allowed to access the same file at the same time. That is nothing but the concurrent access. Concurrent म्हणजे काय, एकाच वेळी एकच फाईल मल्टिपल युजर कडनं काय केली जाईल, ऍक्सेस केली जाईल. नाउ दिस इज नॉट हॅपन इन केस ऑफ द फाईल सिस्टीम. If any one user can access the file at that time, other user wait till the first one release that particular file, first one close that particular file, then another or other type of person, other users can access the same file. That is, there is no concurrency. That is nothing but the synchronization. एकाकडनं टास्क कंप्लीट झाल्यानंतर दुसरा ऍक्सेस करतोय, त्याला सिंक्रोनायझेशन म्हटलं जातं. But we access the file at the same time, that is nothing but the concurrent access. Now here concurrent access need for the performance. At the same time we want to run same application. Now you all need a same file at the same time. That is nothing but the improvement of that performance of the given application. But in case of the file system, it is not happen. Now, uncontrolled concurrent access can leads to inconsistency. Okay, uncontrolled in the sense, if we create a particular file and the same file will be accessed by the multiple users, we don't have any control over that particular accessing the file. Now, I want to change that particular file content. At the same time, you can read the file. ओके, जर तुम्ही एखादी फाईल ऍक्सेस, आपण त्या ठिकाणी सपोज आता मी जर पहिला पॉईंट कन्सिडर केला कॉन्करंट ऍक्सेस नीड फॉर द परफॉर्मन्स, आता कॉन्करन्सी इन मल्टिपल युजर्स कशी हॅपन होते, एक तर फाईल मध्ये ती कॉन्करन्सी परफॉर्म होत नाही. जर आपण त्या ठिकाणी कुठल्याही प्रकारचं कंट्रोल त्या कॉन्करंट ऍक्सेस वरती जर ठेवलं नाही, बिकॉज देर आर सम access specifier or access privileges can be assigned to that particular file on the concurrent access. If we release all these accessing permissions from the file, that is everyone can access the same file, but at the same time here inconsistency can be happen with user data. Okay, मी जर फाईल अपडेट करत असेल, मी जर फाईलवरती कंटेंट राईट करत असेल आणि मी ते कंटेंट राईट करण्या अगोदर तुम्ही जर फाईल ऍक्सेस केलेली असेल, तुम्हाला ती ऍक्सेस झाली कारण आपण तिथलं कंट्रोल काढून घेतलेलं आहे. नाउ वी कॅन रीड दॅट फाईल, वी कॅन ऍक्सेस दॅट फाईल. ओके, नाउ ऍट द सेम टाइम I change the content of that file, but you need to see that changes. It is not happen. मी जे चेंजेस करतो या ठिकाणी, मी त्या फाईलवरती जे काही अपडेट्स त्या ठिकाणी करणार आहे, ते अपडेट्स तुम्हाला त्या ठिकाणी दिसायला पाहिजे. बट इन केस ऑफ द फाईल सिस्टीम इट इज नॉट परफॉर्म. मी जे चेंजेस केले ते चेंजेस तुमच्यापर्यंत आलेच नाही, कारण मी चेंजेस करण्या अगोदर तुम्ही ती फाईल ऍक्सेस केली होती. ओके, नाउ यू रीड ओल्ड डेटा फ्रॉम द फाईल, दॅट इज नथिंग बट द इनकन्सिस्टन्सी. मी जो डेटा सेंड केला तो डेटा तुम्हाला मिळणार नाही, तुम्हाला त्याच्या आधीचा ओल्ड डेटा त्या ठिकाणी मिळेल. किंवा मी जर डेटा अपडेट केला, सपोज मी त्या ठिकाणी एखाद्या विद्यार्थ्याचे पर्सेंटेज चेंज केले, 65% होते, आणि सेम टायमिंगला सपोज दुसऱ्या युजरनी ती फाईल ऍक्सेस केली आणि ती ऍक्सेस करून आता मी ते 65%चे 75% केलेलं आहे, आणि सेम टायमिंगला दुसऱ्या युजरनी काय केलं, त्या ठिकाणी त्या फाईलवरचे जे पर्सेंटेज होते ते पर्सेंटेज त्यांनी काय केले, परत चेंज केले. नाउ दॅट इज नथिंग बट आता त्याला चेंजेस कोणते होणार आहेत, 65 वरचे चेंजेस तो नंतर त्याला रीड होताना 65% दिसणार आहे, 70% दिसणार नाही. And both user wants to see or both user wants to change the percentage of the same student, that is 70%. दोघांनाही काय करायचं होतं, 70% त्या ठिकाणी पेस्ट करायचे होते किंवा अपडेट करायचे होते. परंतु फर्स्ट टाइम ज्या युजरनी ती फाईल ऍक्सेस केली त्यांनी ते चेंजेस परफॉर्म केले. नाउ द सेम चेंजेस वे आर नॉट ऍक्सेसिबल टू द अनदर युजर. They identified the old record, they again update the record. That is nothing but the uncontrolled concurrent access can leads to the inconsistency. म्हणजे डेटा कन्सिस्टंट राहत नाही, त्या ठिकाणी डेटामध्ये वेगवेगळे चेंजेस त्या ठिकाणी होतात आणि चुकीचा डेटा थोडक्यात आपण ज्याला म्हणू शकतो तो काय केला जातो, त्या ठिकाणी युजरला व्ह्यू केला जातो. नाउ हिअर वी कॅन सी द वन एक्झाम्पल, अनदर टाइप ऑफ एक्झाम्पल, टू पीपल रीडिंग द बॅलन्स अँड अपडेटिंग इट ऍट द सेम टाइम. बॅलन्स रीड होताना दोघांनी काय केला, तो बॅलन्स रीड केला आणि त्या ठिकाणी एकाच वेळी दोघांनी तो बॅलन्स काय केलाय, अपडेट केलाय. नाउ दिस हॅपन इन केस ऑफ द अकाउंट सिस्टीम. ओके, अकाउंटचा बॅलन्स रीड होताना सपोज मी त्या ठिकाणी बॅलन्स रीड केला, मला 1000 रुपये बॅलन्स दिसतोय. सेम टाइम दुसऱ्या व्यक्तीने काय केला, तो बॅलन्स त्या ठिकाणी रीड केलाय, त्यावेळेस त्याला त्या ठिकाणी 1000 रुपये बॅलन्स त्या ठिकाणी दिसत असेल. नाउ आय वॉन्ट टू चेंज दॅट डेटा. समजा मी ते ट्रान्झॅक्शन त्या ठिकाणी परफॉर्म केलं, मी 500 रुपये बॅलन्स त्याच्यामध्ये ऍड केलं. ओके, दुसऱ्या युजरला पण 500 रुपये बॅलन्स त्यामध्ये ऍड करायचा होता. टोटल बॅलन्स त्यांना त्या ठिकाणी 1500 रुपये दाखवायचा होता किंवा तो 1500 रुपये कंप्लीट करायचा होता. परंतु दोघांनाही ऍक्सेस होताना 1000 रुपये बॅलन्स ऍक्सेस झाला. मला त्या ठिकाणी 500 रुपये ऍड करायचे, मी ऍड केले. आता बॅलन्स मेंटेन व्हायला पाहिजे, 1500 रुपये बॅलन्स त्या ठिकाणी यायला पाहिजे. परंतु दुसऱ्या युजरला सुद्धा त्याच वेळेस काय झालं, 1000 रुपये बॅलन्स त्या ठिकाणी दिसतोय, त्यांनी सुद्धा काय केले, परत 500 रुपये त्यामध्ये ऍड केले. ओके, नाउ ऍट द सेम टाइम the balance will be updated twice. That is nothing but the inconsistent. Actually balance पाहिजे तिथे फक्त 1500 रुपये, परंतु आता दोघांकडनंही अपडेट झाल्यामुळे तिथे बॅलन्स किती झालाय, आता तो 2000 रुपये बॅलन्स त्या ठिकाणी झालेला असतो. दॅट इज नथिंग बट द डेटा इनकन्सिस्टन्सी can be identified during this file system. This is the drawback of the file system. Now we can have one more problem related to that of the file system, that is nothing but the security problem. Security in the sense there is no security will be provided to our files. Okay, now we need to perform the security to the files. For that purpose we need to provide the passcode or password corresponding to that of the file. when we open the file, then that password will be required to open the file, but the password cracking is very easy in case of that particular file system. That is nothing but the one major problem identified in the file system. Anyone can see your file. तुम्ही एखादी फाईल तयार करून ठेवली, तुम्ही तुमचं मशीन बंद केलं, दुसरा एखादा व्यक्ती आला, तुमचं मशीन ऑन केलं आणि त्यांनी ती फाईल ओपन करून बघितली. नाउ ही कॅन ऍक्सेस इझिली. त्याला ती फाईल इझिली काय करता येते, त्या ठिकाणी ऍक्सेस करता येते. दॅट इज नथिंग बट द सिक्युरिटी प्रॉब्लेम इज द मेजर ड्रॉबॅक अंडर द फाईल सिस्टम. Now we can consider all these drawbacks, that is redundancy related, consistency related, accessing the data, data isolation, integrity problem, then atomicity of the update, concurrency, access by multiple users, and security problems. We consider all these problems. We can provide or we avoid all these things related to the data. We can avoid all these problems related to that of your data. We need to use the database system. Now database system can offers the solution to all these problems which is identified in these two slides. ओके, आपण एवढे प्रॉब्लेम जे आतापर्यंत डिस्कस केले, ह्या सगळ्या प्रॉब्लेमला सोल्युशन कशावरनं प्रोव्हाइड केलंय, डेटाबेस सिस्टमने प्रोव्हाइड केलंय. डेटाबेस सिस्टम कॅन हँडल ऑल दीज थिंग्स. दॅट इज डेटाबेस सिस्टम कॅन हँडल द डेटा redundancy and inconsistency. Database system can handle the data accessing methodologies. Database system can handle the data isolations. Then integrity problem also avoided with the help of database system. Then atomicity of updates are also handled by the database system. Then concurrent access by multiple user is allowed with security with the help of this database system. That is nothing but the purpose of a database system. Okay, this is the purpose. Okay, we consider the drawback of the file system and we overcome all these drawbacks from the database system. That is nothing but the main use or the main purpose of your database system, and we use this database system for all these things to handle the data properly and correctly in your corresponding to of your applications and corresponding to your data. Okay, that is nothing but the purpose of database system. Now next thing, we can see the differences between all these three types of file organizations. In a previous lecture we discussed the types of file organization, that is sequential or sorted file organization, index file organization, or hash file organization, or the direct organization in another words. Now we can see the differences one by one. When we consider the sequential or sorted file organization, the random retrieval on a primary key is impractical. That is random. We can't access the record from the file randomly. Okay. Now in case of the second type of file organization, that is index file organization, random retrieval of primary key is mandatorily fast. जे या ठिकाणी इंडेक्स फाइल ऑर्गनायझेशन मध्ये रॅन्डम ऍक्सेस पॉसिबल आहे, but for that purpose we need to consider the index corresponding to that of the record, and then we can access that particular record very fast, mandatorily fast, with the help of this second type of index file organization. Now in case of the hash file or direct file organization, random retrieval of primary key is very fast than that of these previous two. सिक्वेन्शियल आणि इंडेक्स फाईल ऑर्गनायझेशन पेक्षाही फास्ट रेकॉर्ड, रॅन्डमली रेकॉर्ड काय केले जातील, हॅश फाईल मध्ये ऍक्सेस केले जातील. कारण त्या ठिकाणी हॅश फाईल किंवा त्याला आपण म्हणतो रॅन्डम ऍक्सेस ऑफ द फाईल, आपण जी फाईल ऍक्सेस करायची एक्झॅक्टली त्याचाच ऍड्रेस फाइंड आउट करतो. ओके, आणि त्या ऍड्रेस लोकेशनचं रेकॉर्ड त्या ठिकाणी काय होतं, इझिली ऍक्सेस होतं. नाउ सेकंड डिफरन्स रिलेटेड टू द मल्टिपल की रिट्रायवल इन सिक्वेन्शियल फाईल ऑर्गनायझेशन इज पॉसिबल. मल्टिपल की रिट्रायवल इन द सेन्स वी कॅन कन्सिडर मोर दॅन वन फील्ड, and according to that more than one field we can access the record. एकापेक्षा जास्त की फील्ड आपण कन्सिडर करू शकतो आणि एकापेक्षा जास्त की फील्ड कन्सिडर करून त्या ठिकाणी ते रेकॉर्ड काय करता येतं, आपल्याला ऍक्सेस करता येतं. नाउ नेक्स्ट थिंग इज नथिंग बट in case of the index file organization, multiple key retrieval is very fast with multiple indexes. We can consider multiple keys corresponding to that of the multiple indexes. And in case of the hash file organization, multiple key retrieval is not possible because there is accessing the record with the help of a single key. We need to create or we identify the address with the help of single key field. Okay, in next difference that is considered with addition of new record requires rewriting the file. We need to rewrite the file in sequential manner, that is record will be added at the end of the file. So here rewriting is required in case of the sequential file. In case of the index file, addition of new record is easy and requires the maintenance of the indexes. We need to create the index or we identify the particular index which is free for the corresponding record. We direct add the record into that index file. Okay, if corresponding index were not free, then we create one more index and add the record. In case of the file, it is very easy than that of the sequential and index file to add the new record into the hash file. That is, we only create or add new record in corresponding address. That is, with the help of hash function, we identify the memory address, and at that memory address we direct insert our new record. Okay. Now in case of the deletion of record and create a wasted space, suppose we delete the record from middle of the file. Suppose 50 स्टुडंट आहेत आणि 50 स्टुडंट मधनं तुम्ही काय केलं, 21 to 30 नंबरचे जेवढे स्टुडंट होते तेवढा डेटा डिलीट केला. नाउ दिस इज द फ्री स्पेस कॅन बी as it is. That free space is not filled by other records. That is nothing but the waste of memory. In case of index file organization, deletion of record is easy. If a space is free, then it can allocate it dynamically. That is, if we delete the record, then the corresponding space will be released. Dynamic memory allocation will be takes place in case of the index file organization. Dynamic in the sense, when we run the corresponding data or when we run the corresponding application, if memory is allocated, only that much of memory will be assigned. ओके, त्या रेकॉर्डला जेवढी मेमरी पाहिजे तेवढीच काय होते तिथे असाइन होते. जेवढा डेटा डिलीट होईल तेवढी मेमरी इमिजिएटली त्या ठिकाणी फ्री होते. दिस टास्क इज डन ऍट द टाइम ऑफ प्रोग्राम एक्झिक्युशन. ओके. Now after that, in case of the hash file organization, deletion of record is very fast because we identify the address where we from where we can delete the particular record, then we directly delete that with the help of hash function. Now there is no wastage space for the data in case of the sequential file. Data sati no wastage space for the particular data. That means only that much amount of space is allocated to the data required. Okay. Next thing, in case of the index file organization, no wastage space for data, but there is a extra space for the index. इंडेक्स साठी आपल्याला त्या ठिकाणी एक्स्ट्रा स्पेसची गरज पडते. बाकीचं जास्त डेटा त्या ठिकाणी मेमरी वेस्टेड त्या ठिकाणी जाणार नाही. That is, we require the extra space only for that of the indexes. Then extra space for addition and deletion of the record. रेकॉर्ड जे डिलीट होत आहे किंवा जे ऍड होत आहे त्याच्यासाठी एक्स्ट्रा स्पेस हॅश फाईल मध्ये गरजेचा असतो. देन सिक्वेन्शियल रिट्रायवल ऑन अ प्रायमरी इज व्हेरी फास्ट. प्रायमरी इंडेक्स वरती किंवा डेटा जर प्रायमरी फाईल वरती असेल, प्रायमरी मेमरी मध्ये असेल तर त्याचं डिलिशन फास्ट केलं जाईल. नाउ सिक्वेन्शियल रिट्रायवल ऑन प्रायमरी की इज मॅन्डेटरी फास्ट and sequential retrieval of primary key is impractical. Okay. In case of the hash file, there is no sequential retrieval is allowed. In case of the sequential file updations of record generally requires rewriting the file. File पुन्हा rewrite करावी लागते आपल्याला अपडेट करण्यासाठी. इंडेक्स मध्ये अपडेटिंग रेकॉर्ड रिक्वायर्स मेंटेनन्स ऑफ द इंडेक्सेसचा मेंटेनन्स करावा लागतो. काय डेटा चेंज होतो त्यानुसार त्याची इंडेक्स मेंटेन करावी लागेल. आणि हॅश फाईल मध्ये अपडेटिंग ऑफ द रेकॉर्ड इज easiest one because we direct access the particular record and update that. Okay. Now all these things are considered related to that of the differentiation between sequential file, index file, and random file. That is, in another word, we can say hash file. Okay. Now this is all about that of the file organization, drawback of the file organization, and the difference between different types of file organization method. Now after that, we can discuss introduction to the database system. This is the next point. We consider this next point in next lecture. Now today we conclude our session on this particular differentiation. We continue next lecture on introduction to the database and related concept to that of the database. Okay. Okay. Stop today's lecture.